Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Luxxfolio's channel. We're sitting here once again with Dean, and if you guys haven't been aware, the crypto market's been going through a whole lot of interesting stuff lately that we're going to dive into. But first off, Dean, how you doing?
I'm good. It's hot. It's very hot. I'm getting hotter,
Well,
but I'm
hey,
good.
man, better hot than cold, and like people are getting out and about now a little bit. You're seeing some people taking more risks going out in public, which is good. I mean, we're social creatures, need to socialize. Just make sure you mind your P's and Q's when it comes to either get vaccinated, wear your mask, social distance, but by all means, enjoy the weather.
Sweat it out under a mask someplace.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That doesn't sound like a good time. But you know what? Let's talk about crypto. So, China is a big part of this, right? So, you're seeing a mass exodus of mining out of China now, Dean. And I want to know your thoughts on that.
There's it's difficult to know where to start on this subject. I think a lot of people who haven't been fans of Bitcoin specifically have sort of, one of the things that they've cited is that it is under the control somehow of the Chinese government. I'm not sure where that argument is now, but that was one that was, it was difficult to disprove, I think, until now. I think there's been a lot of, they've put out the same press release 3 or 4 different times, and each time it's impacted the market. This time it feels like it's real. I can tell you that as a, Luxxfolio we own our own, power facility, and we're getting these calls every day from these groups that are exiting China, having to exit China, and they're looking for a home. So I think the other thing that is interesting is the headline is, China is shutting down these miners. In fact, they're not shutting down the miners. They're asking those miners, or insisting that those miners move. And I think it really demonstrates and underscores the fluidity of the Bitcoin mining network. It will go and migrate to where it's welcomed. And I think that it's dynamic, and it's exciting in many respects.
Yeah, I think the fact that we might have more hashing power in the Western world versus China could arguably be a very good thing. But it's interesting that they didn't just seize the miners. They actually are letting them leave. And who knows what kind of deals they had worked out in the first place there. China has always kind of sit as a black box when it comes to information and what was going on. But what's curious is a lot of these people are actually flying these miners over. They're getting them out of the country kind of post haste, going into places like US, Canada. I've even heard like Kazakhstan. So Russia. So it's interesting to see where these all wind up. But there's arguments about the hash rate being affected, and that might be one of the reasons why the market is dropping, with some sort of lack of fluidity. But there's a tremendous amount of volume and fluidity with Bitcoin in the first place, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But what is going to be interesting is seeing what happens as they kind of find a new home and set up. Are they going to be trying to acquire some of the other crypto farms across the world? Are they going to be just trying to merge with other crypto companies across the world? Is their electricity rates going to be anywhere near as good as they were in China? Because again, going back to that black box, they could have been paying significantly less when it comes to subsidized electricity there.
Yeah, I can say from our experience and the calls that we've fielded to date, there is a little bit of a disconnect right now between what they might have been expecting and what we're prepared to do. I think for us specifically at Luxxfolio, it really underscores the value of not just having, I mean, when we first got into this, it was because we had the ability through our debt relationships to access machines. That's really what kind of got it kicked off. But I think we quickly realized that there was going, the next thing to come, the next shoe to drop was going to be the ability to actually control your own destiny from a power perspective. So all of those groups that we're hoping to, plug in someplace into somebody else's power and pay them a spread. that's really been thrown into chaos to a certain degree, because
Yeah.
70% of the miners in China just unplugged looking for a new home. So,
Yeah.
if you're a host and you have the ability to host, this is probably great news for you, because the prices are going up on that.
Mhm.
Um, uh, so yeah, it is a super dynamic situation. I can't help but think that this is just a very, very good thing for crypto miners that are active in North America. I can't really see a downside to this, um, from a Luxxfolio perspective, or anybody else that's working in North America.
Yeah, if you've got your miners acquired and your shop pretty much ready to go, you're in a good spot. Now, the environment will probably get a little more competitive in terms of, as you said, like finding power and stuff from here on out. But it's interesting to see what else they bring along with them. I mean, they could bring strategies for how they set up their miners. They could make some very interesting and potentially lucrative partnerships. It's hard to say, but yeah, overall, I would say this would be a win for miners in the Western world.
Yeah, I think, if I'm like a larger cap miner, and I'm looking at my expansion opportunities, um, and I'm looking at, to acquire smaller miners, because I think there's a natural lift you get there in your multiple. So,
Mhm.
acquiring smaller miners are just, inherently accretive to your bottom line.
Mhm.
I think that, probably those smaller miners, may get more expensive. They might get significantly more expensive, just because there's a lot of money now chasing, groups that have their own power.
Yeah, I'm curious because I'm pretty sure China's going to try to keep up with the production of miners still. They're just going to be largely outside of the country, but the technology there is kind of getting a little more on par. Like Western technology in terms of creation of these miners seems to be growing pretty rapidly too. So eventually, I think you're going to see China no longer being the mining capital and no longer being the mining production capital either for making these ASICs and stuff. So curious to see where things go from here.
Yeah, I'm super following it very, very closely. Obviously, sticking close to hearing what's happening out there, because I think there's been so many false starts. They've kind of promised that they were going to do this, and they talked about it in, I think they've put out 3 or 4 of the same press release,
Yeah.
each time, putting shivers through the market. But this time it's for real. I mean, the
Yeah.
phones are ringing in North America. There are miners being loaded on planes coming to North America, and I'm with you. I've heard Kazakhstan as well. These miners are going to find a home,
Mhm.
and it'll be interesting to see the economic impact, and how all of the pieces on the chessboard move around in reaction to this, because this is a big move.
Yeah, it is a really big move. And Dean, I want to segue a little bit here. Tell me what Luxfolio has been up to these past couple weeks along with this news going on.
I think the last time we talked, we just closed the West Block transaction, or maybe we were just days away from it. I'm not sure.
Mhm.
So, that, like I said, that the timing seems almost like I made it up, but we actually closed on the West Block transaction. We are expecting with that announcement that we made, we also announced that our miners had been a little bit delayed, about 2 weeks.
Mhm.
We're expecting to be actually plugged in now, in early July. So
Nice.
July is going to be our first month of at least partial revenues. Um, we continue to sort of look at, opportunities, both at the Navajo Nation and outside of there, other things. It's amazing, how many opportunities there are, and how many partnerships there are out there, to partner with people that are doing green energy and renewable energy, and it's pretty exciting to see that. I think I hear Michael Saylor talk a lot about how Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining is going to provide the impetus to really propel green energy. And I
Mhm.
think that I can tell you, as a CEO of a publicly traded Bitcoin mining company, that is in fact true. That there is,
Yeah.
we're seeing these deals come across every week, and it's exciting to see that this could be a difference maker, not in just fixing the money, but also fixing our environment.
Yeah, that has always been one of the pain points that people would attack with crypto is the environmental impact. But people need to understand that it's also something that everybody in that industry is also working towards fixing as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that there's a group out there that I mean, energy from the sun is free. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's free, and it's like as advertised, it's renewable,
Mhm.
and it is the best way to do it. So we're gonna relentlessly pursue those opportunities, as will every other company out there.
Wonderful, Dean. Well, thank you for the talk and thank you for your thoughts on China and the updates on the company. Is there anything else you want to say before we go?
No, I'm just gonna try and stay cool this weekend.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Stay cool, guys.
All right.
Enjoy your
Thanks, Mike.
time.
All right. Bye.